There we go. Welcome everybody to it's our fourth hub meeting, but it's an irregular one. This is a prep session for our Impact Elevating event. The Impact Elevating events has been an idea that we're prototyping inside of all of these prototypes as a hub and the 18 prototyping teams that we are. The idea is to really benefit from our placing in the world and this the access that we have and also the learning that we have gathered and to share it with others so that they can both inspire you and help you advance your prototypes, but also that you can inspire them. And we're meeting today to have a first look at this, like how do we understand as we come here together, how do we understand these impact elevating events? What's their aim? Also, what's the context in which we are and what are some offers already on the table? And to really make it our own and to make it to the best benefit of the projects involved. So what we would like to do is just a little moment of mindful awareness before we begin, and then Anya Lisa, I'm going to rename you in a second, Anya, is going to share with us about the project of Anya and Amelia and Toby, who's also sick with COVID. Hello, Toby. And report from your guys' stakeholder gathering last week. So your battery is low, so we're just gonna try to get through it as fast as we can till we get to your part. All right. So before we get to the interview and to listening to you, Anya, sharing the story, I would like to invite everybody just to get up from your chair if this is what you can do. If not, then just as you're sitting, sense into your body. And what we're doing is allow your attention to rest in your body and feel your head, your shoulders, your arms, your torso, your pelvis, your legs and your feet touching the ground, and really sense into the back of your body. And travel with curiosity into your body and allow your body to express how it is doing through a movement. And allow this movement to come from the body, not from the head. Best done it is by just beginning to move and allowing movement to emerge. And as you have arrived at a movement, if you can just say one sentence or one phrase from that movement. So you just unmute yourself and speak one sentence or one phrase from it.
Hop.
Could you repeat?
Hop.
Hop. Thank you. Amelia, how about you?
Empty.
Empty. Thank you. Dayan?
Pardon, my microphone was muted. Fulfilled.
Thank you. Constantina?
How I feel. I said hop. That I am the one who told hop.
Great. Thank you. Sophia?
Presentation mode.
Tony?
Getting relaxed.
Thank you. Kamal? Then let's go to Anya.
Yeah, challenged, but happy.
Yeah.
I like challenges.
What I'm feeling is open-hearted. So you can release the shape. Michaela, welcome to you. We were just doing a little embodiment to get
Hello, hello to
into the
everybody.
space. Hi. Okay. So, Anya, we're really curious to hear about your project, and we're gonna let you speak first. And then, Amelia, if you want to add anything, we're gonna let you add to what Anya shared. And we're gonna try to respect, Anya, your low battery. So yeah, that's why you can go first, and you know the list of questions, so may they orient you. And we're gonna be with you in case you get lost.
Okay. Yeah, and also to say, I'm with two phones. Like, we live in an age of technology. So I have one that has 5% and the other one has 25. So I think I can do it. And I would love for someone to read out the questions, if that's possible. Maybe.
Sure. So the questions that we have is, what is the name of your prototype and what countries and organizations are collaborating on it?
So the name of the prototype is Time for Future, and an exchange program between the countries Portugal and Germany.
And what need in the world are you addressing, and what is your contribution to advancing your purpose?
This program addresses, or this exchange addresses the need to see and match certain needs and challenges, and also at first the need to, in fact, allow the players for addressing those challenges to really take time. In this case, it goes to towards a residency program to invite people to certain places in Portugal and Germany, to allow the people in those places to share their challenges and to have those people invited address the challenges through research and then also prototyping. So one could say it's a residency program. It's very much modeled after an arts residency program, where people have a studio, have a place to live, really are with the people in, let's say, a village setting, and also get a certain income. So let's call it a basic income, to take the time for research as well as prototyping in that particular place.
Could you help us understand it a little bit better by maybe sharing one example of something that somebody worked on during the first residency that you held, or something that you envision people could work on?
Sure. So there was already a residency that was held in the northeast of Germany, and that's also where this idea spans from, to elaborate on this residency, because we feel that certain challenges can be matched in places all around Europe. So when it comes to, for example, the challenge of water, like maybe it be water mismanagement, or generally not enough groundwater to really plan into the future. There was also topics like a seed bank. What does it mean to build up a seed bank in one particular place? Like, what is the knowledge of the people there? How have they cared for their ancestral, or how do they care for their ancestral knowledge? What have they inherited? And so one residency in that village worked exactly on that, to really focus and zoom in on how a seed bank in a village could be built up. And another residency was on, and which also goes hand in hand, on the education for a certain development. So let's call it sustainable or regenerative development. So how can we educate in a playful way people, and really also transfer the knowledge and the things that are found. How can they be language that everyone can understand? And so these residents have researched on that. Is
Anya, we lost you. Yeah. Let's see if she's coming back. Okay. Amelia,
Okay.
how are you doing? Can you tell us about the stakeholder meeting that you held?
Yeah, maybe I can talk something about that, and maybe starting the what Anya was saying. By can I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, so just this. Because I found this image very powerful, and I showed this image at an event with the volunteers from a university, and they said, wow, because this translates, in my view, what Anya was saying about time for future and about priorities. We have been thinking otherwise. We have been considering economy as the center of the universe, and it is not. If we do not have water and biodiversity, we will not have anything. This sustains society, and this sustains economy, and economy is a tool to serve society, which is held by the biosphere. And that what we discussed more or less in the events. Okay, stop sharing. I'm a little slow, sorry guys.
I did it for you, don't worry.
Okay, but the events were fantastic because Anya, she was able to engage a lot. Hey, Anya is back, so she
Anya
can
is back,
speak
yeah.
of the events she organized and how she engaged so many people and enthusiasm. Please go ahead,
Thank you so
Anya.
much. So yeah, Anya, we were just asking Amelia to share with us about the stakeholder event that you held recently. So if you could share from your perspective, like who came together, why was it this composition of people, what did you do, and what were the core insights, or maybe like the core takeaways from a meeting like that? I know you're still processing that, so it's very fresh.
Yes, that's very true. It's still in process, but let's start at the end. The feedback was really good because we had, of course, a diverse group of people from different backgrounds, but also from Germany and Portugal, meeting on a similar topic, on an interest that everyone has. The question again was, how can we create time for future? Meaning, how can the organizers and the people that we then invite as organizers, how can we really have qualitative exchange? And I think on that note, what happened naturally with me was there was, of course, a timeline, there was a schedule, there was topics, there was people that we were meeting. But what I didn't do this time was to hold to the schedule. There was an allowance for this qualitative exchange that we also have here. Of course, time is limited, and it's always good to have a space holder and a timekeeper. But in this sense, there was a timekeeper, but we always extended a bit more, and we told the people, okay, this is great, round it up, but continue. So there was never a break, and it still worked really well because these days I feel, especially through the pandemic, are so used to the Zooming and through short calls and to calls in general. And I felt that's one reflection that has been translated into also offline calls. So people are more able to take that kind of notion into a practical meeting where we come together on eye level. We want to achieve something, but at the same time, we want to also have qualitative exchange. So the stakeholders, were very diverse from Portugal and Germany. It was a group with background in farming, background in research, working on EU level, working on local level, organizing markets and festivals, people that have a background in writing, in fundraising. So it was really a very diverse, wonderful group. And we are really looking forward to continue this. And I feel it was almost like an offline version of these calls here. So to travel, to move to places, to meet different stakeholders, have a sort of core group, but always bring different people in during the day was very vital. So there was some kind of vitalism throughout those days, but at the same time, a certain value holding, let's say. So everyone was there to learn, everyone was there to have their ears and eyes open, and everyone was humbled, I think, by each other a lot. I think that was really also maybe after the pandemic, again, also maybe a reflection. It's a special moment to come together in such a setting after so long online, and also after feeling probably a bit restricted in our doings. It was very valuable. And I can just say I would really like to continue this. I feel just 3 days of bringing 20, 25 people on different days together it can't be replaced by anything else. So this is really, really the learning. And I'm really, really happy and looking forward to share short videos, photographs. We also had a filmmaker with us who will do a documentary about this. And we would really, really like to continue these kind of exchanges. So hopefully beyond this first one, beyond the second one in Germany, also really open to speak to any of you to make this happen, and also share ideally how we did it, what kind of people, to help you understand how to organize that also yourself. Yeah.
So you held one stakeholder gathering just last week, and another one is planned sometime either early summer or early autumn, from what I know. So it's like this project is really vibrant, right? And we have the team from Southern Balkans that are also thinking about engaging with their stakeholders. So I can just really encourage you guys, to exchange and come together and learn from one another. And I'm wondering with this project, being so much already happening, when you look at it, it's out of your head, right? It's happening. It's out there in the real world. When you look at it right now, what do you see as your highest hope for this prototype that you're bringing into life?
For it not to just be a one-off. I think that was also the learning, and this is why I felt it was so important for the people to have the time to get to know each other. We invited stakeholders from both regions, and we matched them. So that was also quite important, and that maybe was the key, to look at who in each region is doing something where they can move on. So, and it took me a few days to send a follow-up email, and people already called. They would really like to have the emails because they couldn't wait to contact the people. And that was a success. I think that was successful because beyond us organizing this has its own life already, where people are already thinking how they could move together and make things happen. So, for example, we invited someone who works, who's a trained actor, but has worked in permaculture and regenerative and syntropic agriculture for the last 5-6 years. So he's very active. He never's been a guide, but we booked him as a nature guide. So he took us through places, through a city, and made us look and zoom into the city, how diverse the city actually is, much more diverse than outside of a city. In Germany, as well as in Portugal, by the way, you have about 20 species just walking for 5 minutes, different trees all next to each other, and all these parks landscaped. And then you drive out of the city and you have monocultures in forests, you know, pine forests, or in Portugal, eucalypto, and so on and so on. And this was really vital. And he immediately got more bookings through that. So it was really, that was nice to match the stakeholders from the different regions. So they can form a kind of a team almost. And I think we can work on that more, match them even more and better, and really have, we didn't have a stakeholder for all of them, but for the most, a matching. And I would say that was really vital and a key to that. So I would hope that beyond this one meeting and the next meeting in early autumn, it takes on its own life. And I think I would really like to keep that always in mind and also plan for that. How can it beyond our meetings really become something where it's almost like a pilot for many different little strands taking off from there, and it can also come back. I mean, it comes later, but where people really work together and always remember, that residency program, and feel also connected to it, because they then are mentors. They become someone that have shared this journey together from the beginning and can give their value and their knowledge all the way. And I hope for it to span for many years, and for many, many residency programs to happen all around the world, where we just give initiation or help, and we can focus on Portugal and Germany, and others do it in other countries. That would be my hope, to really have a sort of a core group that can help to make this happen.
That's wonderful. I'm wondering, we created the u.lab hub as a support structure to be there to serve those doing climate action in the European Union. And I wonder, how has this been useful for your work, or what has it made possible that otherwise would maybe have happened in a different way?
I think it's exactly that what made the qualitative exchange, to be honest, to be reminded regularly oneself how communication can change language, how communication can change the way I transmit knowledge, or I even engage with people. So I think these sessions over the last months have helped to just always remind. It's been a learning, and it's never stopping. So I think if you're in this program, you naturally apply it in less or more ways, but for sure in the future, even more. So I think, I mean, we did exercises that we also do here. So journaling was one, of course, the sensing journeys, and to also take time before. So we really infiltrated also the time for future, the slowing down for quality. That was as not slow is maybe also the wrong word, but to qualitatively zoom in, if you want to call it that. Yeah, that was very helpful. And
thank you so much. And I'm wondering also, like, we're trying to be as realistic as it gets in this project. So I'm also wondering, like, what is maybe currently some creative tension that you have in your project, or some learning, or something where you go like, well, this has been really, like, this has taken some energy from our team to figure out how to deal with it. But through this, we have grown, and we can share with others what happened to us on the way, so they don't get scared when maybe they at some point get to some turbulences.
Yeah. Well, I would say that from the beginning, because the stakeholder interviews, choosing stakeholders, making decisions on that note, that was most scary, because in the end, there's so many, and you wonder who now, like what makes sense. And so I think that was vital to, in the end, make a decision. And I wouldn't say play safe, but again, this matchmaking was very interesting. So to choose people for these kind of first moments and therefore elaborate from there, because those are already people, stakeholders, let's say, that are aligned somewhat. And those are people that then form a team naturally, because that was qualitative exchange and these people are there now. I don't think I would hesitate to call any of them for any kind of questions now, or for any kind of future projects, or for any, and they wouldn't either. So I think that was for me a good learning, to finally make a decision, match make, and then there is no end to stakeholder events. And I think that's also important for them to gradually grow, at least for me. That was important, to look towards, okay, what could be the next topic? Who would they then invite? And this is also what we want to do, to invite the same team again next year, and all of them invite one person. They can choose, because they now know what it looks like, what it feels like. They bring a teammate, they bring someone they find vital and surprise us with it almost. And so naturally this becomes something else. And I think that that was a nice realization, to also delegate and give it to them to build a team with us, so we don't have to do it all ourselves and our own.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. That has been very, very helpful. I wonder if there's anything that you still would like to share, but like we didn't include it in the questions. Either you or Amelia, if there's anything that you would like the rest of the hub to hear from you.
I think I said a lot, and I would rather pass it to Amelia.
I showed, when you had no battery, I showed the picture of the wedding cake to put things into perspective. Why everything is on nature, and why is water and biodiversity so vital for human activities. And what I have seen is this has really a space to grow, and it has started very well, and you were fantastic, Anya. And now it can, yes, you have to because it was the vibe was great, and everybody engaged, and it has it's growing, and it's things are happening as yeah. And so if other people can be this energetic and effective, that will work, and it has a multiplier effect. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wonder, Kamal, if you are with us and if you can step in, I'd be curious to hear how your stakeholder event went, just really briefly.
Yes, I'll be very briefly, because I have a class working. So stakeholder event, we had a very successful one, I think, last week, where we had, I think, about 33 people attending, about 6 groups. We did the 3D mapping, and I think we're working on the report at the moment. We couldn't meet last Monday because it was a bank holiday, and some members are off in biking in Greece in my core team. So good luck for them. Not for me, I'm working. But went really well. Some learning that we have learned, I suppose, to take forward on us. Great feedback, and I suppose the good news is there is some initiated local community project have started on the day by the attendees, which is great. Yep, that's me, and I go back on mute.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so now I'm really excited because like Sophia, Konstantina, Dejan, Mihaela, you're one step before that, or maybe even 2 steps before that. So I'm happy, that there is so much experience with organizing these larger stakeholder events, and if you ever needed encouragement, or support from anybody, that there's just so many people who have done it in the system. So in preparation to our call today, I have to tell you that I've been quite busy. I've done many calls with both the Presencing Institute and our colleagues at the Commission. And one of the things is, so I talked to Kasia, who is responsible for the Climate Pact at the Commission, and also every now and then joins us in our calls. And I shared, Konstantina, Sofia, Michaela, Dejan, your prototype and your intention to offer your prototype to be a center of one of the impact elevating events, and there has been a very positive response to that. And also what Kasia offered, you know, like we began strategizing already who from the other DGs could join, whom we could ask, also about the ideas of how has the involvement of excluded groups been done in other regions. So we're exploring who knows that in which DG in the Commission, and we're going to be getting back to you. So, you know, like there is this aspect of this event that we could be organizing. And the idea is here for us as a hub to host an event that is centering either one prototype or one industry. So Tony, I'm also speaking to you because your prototype is also somehow aligned. So we can, you know, like figure out as we go if it's just the Southern Balkans, or if Tony, you're joining as well. And there's a couple of questions I would like to explore together with you, like around this, you know, like what is your core need for your prototype right now? Where would it be most useful for support from the outside to come in and share, you know, like networking, informations, experiences, contacts to others? But what is it also that where you feel that you want to engage in conversation with others, and what is it that you feel by the time we're making this event, so maybe in a month from now, that you would be hoping you can share with others? So I would like to get into that in a second, but before we do that, I want to share with you the other options that are there as well. So as we have talked on one of our previous meetings, the Presencing Institute is organizing something that's called the Global Forum. It's an annual gathering with, I don't remember how many hundreds people coming together last time. And we have two opportunities to contribute. And I just met with our colleagues from the Presencing Institute today as well. So one idea is for us to prepare something beforehand that can be then part of something that's called a sound garden. And I'm going to send you all the links in a follow-up email, so you don't need to worry about knowing anything. There's a web page and there are like full tutorials of how to do everything. So it's like really step by step. So we could contribute to a sound garden, and we can hold a conversation during the Global Forum. The ways how we could contribute to the sound garden is we could record a bunch of prototypes sharing about who is it that came together, a little bit like the lightning interviews that we're doing, you know, but we could have like around 4 prototypes, and we could make it to a mini podcast that would maybe be 12 minutes. And this is something that's going to be on the website of the Presencing Institute, and people will be able to listen to it, but also to download it. And we, for ourselves, we're going to get their analytics, so we're going to know how many people have been exposed to this content. So that's one idea. A second idea is the idea to do a hub story. So to tell the story about the u.lab 1X and u.lab 2X. And this is where I spoke to Kasia today as well. And she said she'd be really interested to share from the perspective of the Commission, to say what the Commission has been intending to do with that. I could share from the perspective of holding the hub. And then we were thinking of somebody like Amelia or Kemal, one of you, to join us in this conversation that we're having, because you have been there for the full journey. So to share from your perspective. So, you know, like if any of you wants to join, that would be great. And the third idea that is there is something that's called a sensing journey. And that means that we could hold, before the Global Forum, we could hold a call. And this is something where I would need help with holding the call and the invitation, you know, like formulating invitation and generally checking if this is something that we want to do. And this call would be basically to everybody involved in climate action in the European Union. And the intention would be to get a sense and to sense into it what's happening in climate action in European Union. Yeah, so there's like, you know, there's many ideas already open for us that we can contribute to, but also I want to keep the door open to any ideas that maybe we haven't thought of, but you guys have, right? So just summing it up, there can be our impact elevating event. Then we can record a podcast with presenting the prototypes that we're working on, record a mini podcast on our hub, hold a call that is sensing into what climate action is happening in the European Union currently. And during the global forum, we can hold a global track on climate, where everybody who's interested in climate could come together, and us as a hub, we could create, you know, like a space for having a conversation that's gonna feel like it's rich and that it's given us, you know, hope or answers or togetherness or ideas or whatever we figure out as a hub is most valuable. And maybe I would just like to go around in a circle and just pull in a resonance, hearing from each one of you which of these events you might be interested contributing to, if any. Yeah. So let's just maybe go. I'm just gonna call on people as you are on my screen just to make it easier. Hi Tony, we're just great to see you. Okay, Konstantina.
Oh, I will say that all of these ideas are amazing. I can't choose any of these ideas, but certainly I would have a meeting with our members of our prototype of our core teams to discuss on the ideas. And but I really all of these ideas are great, really. In the impact elevated event, I think it's a great idea. In the podcast, and I like the idea with this hub where we have got a space of collaboration, those who are interested in the same on the same issues. For example, I know for core transition and special stakeholders engagements are very much interested all over the world. In India, for example, I know there is a great interest in that, and I cooperate in. I have I have attended some webinars and they are really varied. The data that we can get are amazing and very interesting. And Australia also is very much interested in core transition all over the world. So, and the idea of a world hub about this core transition and stakeholders engagement based on our prototype and how we can actually use the theory U as a new approach to stakeholder engagement and get some experience and some knowledge and some practice from the other countries is a great idea. And of course, in the podcast also, and the impact elevated event, because there we will have the chance to show to the people our prototype, because co-sensing, 3D mapping, the sensing journey, and the theory I haven't heard those terms before, and it is very nice to show to other people about how the contribution of theory U and this hub, and how I think how we can communicate core transition, theory U, stakeholder engagement, and hard to reach and vulnerable groups. So if I am more thrilled, let's say, with impact elevated event and then the hub that you mentioned. Okay, and then because I think that will be a great opportunity for the presenting institute and for the theory u.lab to come into surface. But certainly I will talk, it's a team decision, and we'll have probably meeting next week and we'll discuss on this.
Wonderful.
But all are amazing ideas, all of them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's great to hear. Sophia, how about yourself?
Actually, I also cannot definitely say that I prefer one or another option. Recently, I've become a big fan of podcasts, and we're actively working on our podcast within the agency. And I really enjoy listening to different podcasts, and it would make me happy to participate in something like this. But still, I don't know if this will allow us to get the broadest audience possible if this is our main aim. And in this context, I'm just curious, should we choose one of those options, or we can make them complementary to each other, or how do you see it? So and of course it should be a team decision at the end. Yeah.
So, you know, like some of them are very easy to organize, like the Hub
Yeah.
podcast and the Prototypes podcast. I would say they need just people coming together for one call, having some technical introduction about how to record the call so that it's good quality, and then we would have somebody who's putting it together. So that's fairly easy. The sensing journey would need us to write an invitation and send it out to our networks, and there's a protocol how to exactly run it. So it's also very easy. Now, the impact elevating event needs us to identify what is the need, what's the invitation, who is invited, what's the flow, and who's holding that. So that's probably the biggest amount of work. And I would like to have a core team here, and I don't need to be in the lead of that team. So I'm happy also to pass it on to somebody else from the hub. And the climate track during the global forum is something that probably, you know, like we can write an invitation sometime mid-June so that people can join it. But then we can basically figure out how to hold it as our, you know, like cherry on the top, kind of towards the end of our journey together. So I think the impact elevating event is what requires the biggest amount of inquiry on our part and also preparation. So I just noted down that you would be interested in contributing to the podcast explicitly because there's your current interest as well. And I'm also having you with all the other ones and with the impact elevating event.
Yeah, I'm also with the group, as of course,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this is my personal
Great.
interest currently.
It also, like, we don't need to make a group decision. We can make all of them with different constellations. Sorry, I haven't said that. Yeah. So we're going with the abundance mindset, you know, wherever there is a person who says, I would like it to happen, I'm going to take responsibility, or I'm happy to share responsibility for it happening, we can do that.
Yes, but Carolina, the main, let's say, the attractive element in all this is our networking.
Yeah.
It is, for example, it's in the podcast, is in my opinion, I don't know, we should show the dimension of networking.
Great.
Because it's a dimension that we should concentrate on, and we can reach to really useful conclusions based on this networking.
Do you want to elaborate just a sentence more?
No, from my side, no.
Okay, great. Tony, how about yourself?
I agree with the impact elevating event. That's, you know, we have to kind of there's a lot of work involved in that, and but it's also the connecting and the networking and stuff on that. Again, the podcasts are, I think they're a way to go. As you said, they're easy enough, but I think we'd have to find, you know, there's so many podcasts happening out there. How do we find a gap or a niche, or do we want a niche area, or do we want to get this information out as widely as possible? And again, I think going back to Amelia and Anya's talk there earlier, a podcast could be a way of, I don't know, getting someone of influence, or someone in a strategic role or something like that could come on and give an opinion on things like that as well. As a special guest, someone from the commission or someone from DG climate or some of these. But the sensing journey one is the one that kind of tickles my fancy as well. What is happening in the EU? There's a lot of good stuff happening, but in general, it's the stuff that isn't happening that gets the headlines, and how do we get that information out there? And I do think that with the climate track during the global forum as well, if we would need, I think, a lot of information at our fingertips as well. If people were asking certain questions and things like that, would we have the particular information at our fingertips as well? So it'd be a thing. But I think what's happening climate-wise, climate action within the EU is an important one, and try and get as widely out there as much as possible. But again, each and every one of them is they're great ideas and great concepts. But again, it's the group, and as you said, democracy is, we're still living in an age of democracy at this part of the world. So but I do think getting that information across to as many people as possible is but then the other ones do that as well. So it's how we combine the whole lot maybe together, and and create, feed that into the impact elevating event or something. Is that possible? I don't know.
Great, thank you. Amelia, would you like to share?
If I do have voice, I have a problem. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's what happens. You say, can you hear me? And internet hears that and the person is gone. There you go, you're back.
Hey, it's the internet not only, but I think every option is very worthy, and if we can do it all, it will be excellent if it's possible. And the ones I believe they have more impact is the elevating events, because there will be very powerful examples, and it can inspire others to do the same, and also grow the prototypes, because by showing the events, maybe the prototypes will be growing and the bubbles will be growing. And also the sensing event with the EU and the other, all of them very worthy, yes. And yeah, you can count on me, yes, of course. Yeah. I'm sorry, my voice is
Yeah,
not
no, it's
stable.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Michaela, would it be okay to ask you?
Yes, of course. Yeah, thank you. And of course, as Konstantina said, we shall discuss what I was thinking, listening to all of the previous participants, and while you were explaining the events, was that we are aiming at quite a big variety of targets, of stakeholders. So we have different groups. Some would respond better to hubs, some would respond better to podcasts, some would respond better to the impact event. And I personally liked the climate track. I like the idea to raise awareness more and more here in our region to the climate change, to fortify all the arguments with some science, with some examples, with something that actually can give people the right perspective to make them more connected to the issue that we are going through, to the transition, basically. And I like podcast as well. Sophia said it. she does it for another project. And I think for some groups, for the vulnerable, for the young people, to hear something that they're interested in is very important. So this is also a very good option. Of course, the event, however challenging it would be, is also the way to go. I'm just not sure. I see these events like different steps toward, like throughout the journey to reach the goal. And we also work and target politicians, policymakers for them, and or hardcore experts for them, the hubs, those forms of communication are very much like appealing. They like to get together in these under these circumstances and discuss. So really a lot to consider. I think we should just narrow down because we're starting big. I think we should just narrow down and clear for ourselves that, hey, we're dealing with young people or vulnerable groups, and then we, like, the decision will come naturally to us. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Dayan, if you would like to round us up.
Can you give me a moment, please?
Sure, no worries. You
Somebody else can go after me because I'm having a little trouble at the moment. Can you give me a moment, please?
Yeah. You just come back whenever it's good for you, and then we're gonna make space for you.
Thank you.
So my proposal now would be the following. You know, with the Hub podcast and the Prototype podcast, what I have noted so far is, for the Prototype podcast, Sophia, I would reach out to you. I would also like to include Tobias from the Portuguese team and check with him, who's currently sick. And then, you know, like 2 other projects, if they want to present themselves, and there would be space for you. And we could just engage in a conversation and record that, right? So this is something that could be easily done. It doesn't require a lot of effort. And we will have somebody from our communication team helping us to translate it into a podcast. When it comes to the sensing journey, I would need support in crafting an invitation. So is there anybody who would like to co-write an invitation with me? Tony, I had the sense that you might be the person to, yeah? Great. So I just wrote it down, and I'm gonna sum it up in the email I'm gonna be sending out to you, and then you and I, we can get together, you know, like, and figure out how to begin the invitation, and then we would send it out to all of you to help us spread it, and really, as you know, like, Michaela, as you were saying, you know, like, pull in the diversity of networks we have and the diversity of climate action, because, you know, like, even if in our hub we have a school, we have, you know, like, just transition, we have water mismanagement, you know, like, we have +1, -1, so like low threshold climate actions for anybody. You know, like, we have a really wide diversity. So if we expand to our ecosystems, this is one of our core strengths. For the climate track during the Global Forum, that would be something that maybe I would park for now, because it's, you know, like, and come back to it at the end of May and get going with the other things, and they're going to show us also the direction. So my intention would be, for example, to do the sensing journey sometime during May, to do it low threshold, you know, but like just to get the ball rolling. And so what I would like to focus all of our attention on is the impact elevating event, right? And to use the remaining 25 minutes that we have before we're wrapping up to really explore what it is about. So for now, just to check an assumption that I have, Dayan, just checking if you're good to speak now. Maybe not yet. Okay. Just checking an assumption. We have the Southern Balkan team that volunteered for your prototype to be the core of the impact elevating event. Are there any other teams that would feel that they want to join with their prototype the impact elevating event, because that might then like change what we're discussing?
Carolina, probably our prototyping can maybe take part. Sorry, probably you called me earlier, but I was in the impression I echo what Emilia said exactly. I think the high elevator impact probably have more impact maybe to reach out to more people and maybe to expand the prototype. So personally, and I'm assuming again my team will rally and be, support this. So personally, I am for this to kind of join efforts for that. So yeah, let's see what we can do about it.
Great. Kamal, are you able to talk back, or are you still in your session?
I'm still in session, but I'm listening and I can kind of chip in and out, but I'll probably stay with you in the next 15 minutes anyway. So
yeah, okay, great. So, I would like to just to open mic for a second, or just for a second, for a couple of minutes, and to explore together, as we sit here together and we have, like from cold transition to these microclimate actions, like what is it that we could be our offer to the wider audience? As you said also, Tony, there are, like so many podcasts, like what could be our gap? What could be our niche? What is it that we could, how could we be, like what's our contribution? How could we be interesting for others? How can we be helpful in them trying to be successful in doing climate action? So let's just, let's just open mic, and whoever would like to contribute.
Yeah, I was thinking when you look at the group here, like we're a pan-European. There's a real good spread, so we're not kind of concentrating on one area or another. Where I think when it comes to the EU side of things, there's hubs and there's groups. They're grouped in geographical regions. But I think maybe that's an area maybe we have sort of an advantage in, or a benefit in having a kind of a cross-European network.
Oh, Tony, but I think the problem is global. Even if we do something very locally and we think it does just an impact in a very narrow area, maybe it does not. Maybe it can be scaled up, or it impacts indirectly someone else in the other part of the world, either positively or negatively. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose the idea of a prototype is to eventually scale it up, so it is more applicable on a global scale. So maybe that's could be another area where we could say, look at this, we're prototyping these, but we want to upscale them into a bigger, a pan-European and a global thing after that. So this could be either how do we go about it, or is this the start of it? But having a prototype, the plan should be to scale it up. Yeah.
How can we be helpful for others doing climate action? What is our contribution?
Carolina, may I? Generally speaking, about the prototypes or about our prototype?
About both, your prototype, but also our prototypes in this hub.
From our side, I think that our prototype it has to do with culturalization and actually with justice in culturalization. So how do we? Sorry, let me read again your question. How can we be helpful? Okay, so we can be very helpful for others because we show the way to speed up and accelerate the culturalization by approaching different diverse stakeholders, mostly the vulnerable. So as we know, that to be on board and to be all citizens on board is a cornerstone for core transition regions, because we face many obstacles and many concerns and many worries about the citizens. And in most core regions, a great problem is to reach all the citizens in order to decrease energy issues, energy poverty, and to approach them, so to help them be on board, and from the beginning, from the very beginning and until the end of this process. So we actually, through our prototype, we show different ways and different approach by using the theory u.lab in this process. About the others prototype, I think that we should stress as Tony said, and about the pan-European networking. As I said before, networking is a crucial issue on our achievements about climate, and collective action should be also be in the fore will be in will be an issue that we should also concentrate on, that whatever we should do and whatever succeed in climate action, it has to do, it's a team effort, it's a collaborated effort. So another meaning that we can that we can transmit is that we can actually contribute to climate action through our prototypes. That prototypes actually are based on different people coming from different countries but they have got common interest, and through this collaboration we try to achieve a common target.
What we're doing right now is called generative conversation. And that means that there's a purpose in the middle between us. And we're looking at the purpose from different perspectives. And everybody who contributes something sheds light from a different perspective onto that and allows us to see a deeper complexity of that. And it's, like following one of these rules that says yes and instead of saying yes but. So we really try to, see, okay, what if they all belong? What if all of these interests and ideas belong? What is it that they uncover? So I'm inviting also Michaela and Sophia and Kamal and Amelia and Tony and Konstantina to join in again to this, what is showing to yourself in our conversation around this. How can we be helpful to others doing climate action? As we're, as each of us is in their prototypes, but also as we witness one another and what the other prototypes are doing, and as we are together as a hub.
We can give a voice to those who do not have a voice so often. and I believe this is something which is common to most prototypes. Yes.
What I would like to add is probably currently in our huge information flows that we are facing every day, it's very important to share with the society and the target group that we are envisaging to provide with reliable information, because this is something which we really experience every day in our work. So the media is very strong and powerful, the regional media, and when the regional media is not informed well, they provide the wrong messages, and the wrong messages by the regional media could provoke a very negative reactions to the changes that are going to happen in our region, as regard of in terms of just transition and change to clean energy supply. And in this context, I'm thinking that probably the most important thing is providing the right information and sharing the right messages and explaining that our behavior as a consumers matters, and our behavior as a region matters, and also the behavior of the region as energy producer matters on a global scale in terms of environment and climate change. So and probably for me, the most important point is that the Green Deal as such is not designed to break our region into pieces. It's not the case. The message should be that it's made to make us live better and to increase our quality of living. Yeah, that was what I wanted to share.
So, Sophia, what you are saying is we have to devise some way, building on what you have said, we have to devise some way of going through the noise and communicate. So the question is, how is the best way to communicate and to reach people's hearts?
And to provide them with the right information and to explain which are the right sources of information, because these are not Facebook or whatever. So yeah.
Yep, exactly, yes. And what is true and what is not true, and what is wrong, what is right, and people are confused. Yeah.
We cannot say if this is right or wrong. Only the history will show us, but we could say what is true and what is not true. This is the most important thing in our case, I think.
And the feeling, what do they feel? Because right and wrong and true and false sometimes are people feel it differently.
It's subjective, yeah, indeed.
Yes, and also a great thing that you shared this, Sophia, because it is a huge problem in our regions, and maybe this way with the misleading information, we're missing a group of people, or we are missing, and we cannot connect the people who actually believe that the climate change is affecting us and that the transition to clean energy is the way to go. And then we cannot actually link these people. They cannot feel that they belong to a certain group, that they want to express themselves, but lost in this vortex of information, disinformation, and different opinions, and social media volume of all kinds of stories, they just cannot really feel that they're part of a group. And then it's very hard for any of us to actually reach these people and to work with these people, because they're just scattered, disconnected, and feeling alone maybe in the way they're thinking. It would be great if we can go that deep, that far, and reach those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Michael, when you were saying it there, we don't represent a political party or an ideology. We're just ordinary citizens who are concerned, and we want to help our fellow citizens understand the problem and see what kind of resolutions we can come together and work together on. I also think as well, someone said it earlier, about the vulnerable in society. And I was thinking as well about the pan-European thing I was talking about earlier, but not all countries can have the resources to move as quickly as people would like. And I think the richer countries should do an awful lot more to help the lesser countries, or the countries that still have economic problems and this kind of thing, be it here in Europe or globally. And we've seen that with the COVID, how Africa and places like that are still not regarding vaccines and things like that, and we still rely on these developing countries for our raw materials and our food produce and all sorts of things. So there is that imbalance there, but I do think the emphasis should be that we don't belong to any political organization, nor ideology or anything like that. We are just ordinary citizens, and we want to help our fellow citizens in tackling this thing and understanding it, and how they can make a difference, and the vulnerable in society as well. And I'm also, when I was thinking of that as well, as the youth, because this climate anxiety thing seems to be a real thing on mental health and all sorts of things with people as well. So maybe there's areas that we could say, look at, there are things happening, there are people concerned, trying to get together and trying to make a change. So,
but Tony, sometimes the problems which we think are from richer countries and poorer countries are two sides of the same coin. For example, today I was discussing about a project I'm building up in Horizon Europe, and involving African partners. And we will have soon problem of food sovereignty. So we will have food insecurity because we import too much that we lose inside our territories. So we have food waste and loss, and imports at the same, and exports everything at the same time. And in Africa they also have the same problem, and they cannot they have no access to real value chains, effective value chains in one side, so they waste food. And they also have that informal economy, which is a barrier to food safety and also blocks the income of families. So we can fix the whole thing in the same way, which is putting individuals producing food and feeding into valid food value chains. So if the value chains work and are short and are well thought, they solve problems in richer countries and in poorer countries. So it's just a way of seeing the things. the perspective may matter. See, I don't know how can we show that to people, but I agree with you. We have to show ourselves as individuals that do not have a political affiliation, and we are doing volunteer work, and we just think this is the right thing to do. So there are no interests behind. Yeah.
Definitely. I never referred to being part of any political group, but just the belonging that you have people that share your thoughts and your beliefs. It's very important as well, and it's really hard to even like not convince, but just converse with people. I remember back in 2013, I was part of the climate reality project. They had training in Istanbul, and my former the former organization I worked with was assisting with mentoring different tables with different people coming from all over the world. And I happened to be on the table with the people from Africa, different countries, different levels of economic development or problems. And they asked this very simple question. They asked, look, you, the rest of the world had the chance to develop based on coal for so many years. And now we want to be developed as well. And you say it's not good. I mean, it's very hard to argue with people when they come so strong with an argument like this, because they say we simply want to be like developed, have food, and have the normal society. It was a very like memorable line to me, because we were discussing the climate change, we were showing the evidences, we were talking with different people, and then when you come to these disadvantaged really countries, unfortunately, it's very hard. And those are not only in Africa. I believe a lot of regions, a lot of people are feeling this way. Maybe this is what I'm thinking now based on the discussions, and I wanted to share. So definitely challenging. This is why we work on this topic in our regions.
Thank you so much, Mihaela. So, like listening to the conversation right now, one image that has, like shifted inside of me and has emerged actually is, and was prompted, Sophia, by your call that Green Deal is not designed to break the region into pieces, but to help make a better life. Like I really strongly resonated with that. And also, Tony, what you said about this, that we're just regular citizens who are feeling called to do something and to step up and to help others by sharing what we're doing. And, like you and I, were not different from each other, and we're not going to be different from the ones that we invite into the table. So what I'm like, one of the images, or like the image that I'm seeing right now, is us actually weaving a tapestry of connections and relationships to connect a fragmented planet. Right. So this is what I'm seeing we're doing in our work. And sometimes it's showing itself, and like it's manifesting itself through the wisdom of the head, the heart, and the hand. Right. So like, what do I believe in? Where do I seek information? How do I connect to those who are like-minded? But also this, like feeling with those who are left behind, and not just wanting to extract data from them, but actually, like sitting with them in the fire of how it feels to be left behind in a region. And also the wisdom of the hand. So like, what have we so far been trying to do and have been trying to achieve? So really just, like the common denominator of these are the disconnects, right? This is where where it's me against you, where it's us against them, where it's this against that. And this has been our work so far to, like gently and with love and with hope, spin bridges between these two parts that have been divided. And we've been doing that by microclimate action. We've been doing that by truly asking the question, who is our stakeholder and what do they need? We've been doing that by sharing conversation over a meal. Like there is just this like really beautiful diversity of ways how we have been doing that. So I can imagine, like that can be actually our contribution, because somehow, Konstantina, like you're really alive in me when I'm thinking about this. Like so many just say that they want to engage stakeholders, but we're truly asking the question, who are the stakeholders and how to engage them, like, and really coming with this beginner's mindset and saying we want to remember that we don't know until we have actually found out, until we had these conversations. We don't want to go like, oh yeah, like this is what we knew from the beginning, but we actually want to find out. So there is something about this, like this showing up and being humble and making yourself available, that actually changes the conversation that we're having. And I want to check how that resonates with you guys.
I don't think I've in the last, in the last meeting I said and expressed myself, and I said that we shouldn't teach them how to do this and what to do. They should feel that they are part of the solution and part of the problem, and that's actually the main, as you said, that we should be humble. And when we approach them by a way of we know and you don't know, then we raise objections, and we raise because those are who are involved in the problem and they are face and deal with the problem. Actually, all of us, we just observe the problem, and those are who are involved should those who live with the problem, they should have a voice to the solution of the problem. So as you said, Carolina, we should bridge the gaps, and we should bridge their worries, their concerns, their fears, their prospects, and how could change them on the bright side of life.
Yeah, I fully agree, Constantina. I was just saying when Michaela was talking about sitting with the African people representing African nations, I had a similar event back a number of years ago with people from different countries in South America. And they were looking at saying, well, hang on a minute, guys, we produce Chile is the biggest copper producer in the world. So they're producing the copper, they send it to Europe where it's smelted and turned into whatever technology, say laptops, and then those laptops are sold back to people in South America for 4 times the value. So they're thinking, well, why should we? Should we not keep the manufacturing here and jobs for our people and using our own natural resources? And these are huge questions. And I just, looking at our group here, I'm a white male, European male, and I can't stand up and tell them what to do or how to go about it, because, the minute you just have to, as I say, show total humility and say, look, guys, I'm just here to facilitate or just listen to what your problems are, first of all, or where you see the problems are, and see if there's any way we can help you. So, but yeah, it's a huge challenge to bring people along. But they are the stakeholders, the people that are actually on the ground suffering in these places, or experiencing hardships, be it for land or livestock or whatever it is, you know, and you know, I'm sitting comfortably here in my 4-bedroomed house, and you know, and no problems, plenty of, you know, I car outside I can hop in and drive off in, but you know, that's, I can't tell these people how to go about fixing, you know, their problems. I have to be here to listen to them and say, look, guys, we can, you know, work between ourselves and things like that. So yeah, it's a big challenge, but like we have to stand up to it, I think.
It's a beautiful beginning of a conversation. I'm being mindful of the time. I just want to check if anybody of you has an idea of what might be the best next step for us thinking about this impact elevating event. What should we do next?
Caroline, sorry,
Yeah.
I was just listening in the background. Do we have a core team, or do we need to kind of form a core team and take it to the
I
next
think
level?
forming a core team is a very good idea. Yeah. So I'm in the email. I'm just gonna send out a call for the who wants to join the core team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would propose that this core team meets on a regular basis to figure out, you know, like, yeah, all the next steps then. Tony, I saw your reaction. Was it?
No. Yeah, it's yeah. A brainstorming session, I think is what it'd be called for. But at least, you know, you need the brains to have a brainstorming. So yeah.
And exactly. And when we have the core team, you know, like I would like to find actually, you know, like a date next week. Sophia, I'm wondering if what time can the date be? Is 8 a.m.? Is that a time that is good for you? Just to try to include, you know, like this what showed up at the beginning of the session.
No. I have seen that there is a reason behind the decision to make the meetings late at the evening. So I will not try to change that.
You know, we're forming a core team right now for that event. So that's a different format. So that can be in the mornings as well, you know?
All right. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
As you wish.
What time? Let's just try to include, you know, like a different time in the day. What time would work well for you? If you just give us an example.
Yeah, I feel at this time a bit tired, and I would prefer any other time during the day, especially during the working day. It would be great, because now I feel that I need to spend some more time with my family, and yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna try.
Just me, yeah.
We're gonna see, you know, like how many people could join early in the day. Okay, I'm gonna send out the sum up email on Thursday because I'm unfortunately away the full day tomorrow. So it's gonna take me, you know, like until Thursday to write down the email, but I'm gonna be reaching out to everybody and including also all those who will be rewatching the video. Thank you so much for today. Thank you for this completely new dynamics in our group, because it's a different way of working, right? It's like not facilitated, but we're like all in it together. If we could just, you know, like have one quick sentence for everybody how it was today, just to end with a sense of how we are as a group. And whoever wants to go first, Kamal, you go first and then you say who goes next.
Perfect. Yeah, because so I suppose apologies I wasn't so interactive with you guys this evening. I feel I didn't do enough with the group today, so sorry if I let you down. But equally, I feel empowered to be within this group. So it gave me energy, even though in the middle of my boy work, I'm trying to fit in some space. So that's too many words I said there instead of one. So the next person I call my colleague Tony, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Kamal. I feel definitely encouraged. We're together. We're going in the right direction, and just keep going. Yeah. Constantina.
Well, I feel powerful. I think that we are a great team with innovating and very interesting ideas. And Sophia.
I think that we're living in a very different type of countries. One are more developed, rather the others are less developed. And the thing is that what I felt that, because probably I'm representing a less developed country in a way, and the positive feeling that I get is that I don't feel like smaller or I have the voice to share my view and experience equal as the others. And yeah, this is what I was thinking about this meeting. Amelia?
Okay, let's see if my voice cooperates because I have some voice issues. I have copy. Okay, but it goes it's word. See word. Okay. I feel empowered and I feel connected to many people. And what I see is we can do great things together and starting humble, approaching the stakeholders. Yes, we have to devise a way of approaching people in a humble way because everybody matters. And we spoke about Africans. We may perhaps bring them or ask them questions because here in Portugal we have a lot of people who have double nationality and they come and go and they're very well integrated here, so it's easy to reach them and is easy to reach Brazilians because we are having some actions which have a global impact. So at the last and at the end we will be having a global impact anyway, and bringing and reaching the disadvantaged people, that's something we have to work out in this core team now, how to communicate in some sensible way and differently to get heard and to get noticed and to go to the hearts and to the heads and to the hands, as Carolina said. That's it.
Mihaela, I believe it's your turn.
So I think I will wrap up for the group. So I would say for the session today, like we're going strong, we're getting there, and I feel inspired. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I have to admit to you that I'm feeling a little bit, scared of our own courage. I'm feeling like I'm in a forest and I'm like, oh, the trees are beautiful. And then I'm like, oh, and the birds are beautiful. And oh, the sky is beautiful. And oh, the blueberries are beautiful. And like, oh, the moss is so nice to lie on. And, like everything is beautiful and everything sounds like a good idea to engage with. And I'm feeling very comfortable inside our wisdom as a group to just take it step by step and to sense, where we can have the largest impact and the largest contribution, being also mindful of being good to ourselves and not overburdening ourselves and our systems, but actually going with this, what works good for us and from us. So I'm curious to have this new walk with you guys and go on this new walk together. Thank you so much. See you on email.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye bye. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.